critical voting bloc in the battle for the White House is millennials. So what are the biggest issues for the younger voters in the campaign, and what can be done to sway their votes? Let's ask some millennials. Democratic strategist and Trump supporter Harlan Hill, and Democracy for America communications director and Clinton supporter Neil Schroka. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Neil, let me start with you. It seems like millennials' number one issue has to be jobs in the economy. I mean, we have seen income inequality expand dramatically according to government data. During the Obama administration, there's tons of student debt out there. I mean, how do you go out there and craft a message for millennials based on the economy if you're the Democrats?
Well, thank heavens that Secretary Clinton had the primary she did, where with Bernie Sanders, she got to a place where now she's talking about tuition-free college for the vast majority of Americans and debt-free college for everyone, which is a great thing. But you're right. I mean,
so give away
like
free stuff.
Else,
that's the way to get millennials, basically. Give away free stuff and to hell with the idea that anyone would ever have to pay for it. Do you think they're really that gullible? Harlan, I'll ask you. Do you think they're that gullible?
No. Look, the reason for this is because...
I think they might be, actually.
Well, maybe. But the reason for that is that we came of age during Obamonomics. We don't really remember good times. I mean, it's been a time of, stagnant growth. We're growing at 1%. If you look at the first half of this year, people are graduating from college with enormous student loans, and they can't even find a job. Things are really bad. And so when you see somebody offering something for free, it's very alluring. It's very alluring.
Yeah. Well, and what we know is that Donald Trump's economic plan is going to be an unmitigated disaster.
How do we know that?
Moody's Analytics rated his tax plan, said that it would lead to a lengthy recession and cost 3.5 million jobs.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump would be a train wreck.
I don't know if you want to get into that argument with me. I studied economics. That's about they're looking at the economy from a static perspective and assuming that there's no growth that comes when you lower taxes. And of course there is. No one believes that.
Well, without question.
I'm going by the analyst experts here. That's the fact.
Over at Moody's, where they are known Democrats and Democratic donors. Harlan, do you think that impacts anything?
Look, without question. I mean, one thing I know is that if Hillary Clinton's promising to be a continuation of the last 8 years, we're not getting out of this mess. I mean, median household income is flat or down depending on what stats you look at. So why would you think that the track that we're on makes sense? Neil, seriously, why?
To be fair,
because the alternative that Donald Trump is presenting is
hang on. When Hillary Clinton is asked to define her own economic plan and what she's going to do differently, and she puts out the bullet points, they are all the same talking points that President Obama said going in. She talks about shovel-ready spending, spending on infrastructure, spending on green jobs, and when challenged to say how is that different from what President Obama did, she doesn't have an answer. So it is really more of the same. Do you think that millennials feel like we're in a good place economically?
Well, right now, we have unprecedented economic growth. The big problem is that economic growth is not...
Wait, what number have you seen that supports that?
Well, we've had months and months of economic growth over the course of the Obama administration.
We grew by 1% in the first half of this year, according to the government's numbers.
Here's the point. The problem is not that the economy isn't growing. It's not growing and touching all the people that it needs to be touching.
Hang on, let him finish. He's digging quite a deep hole there. I'm about to send him back to Economics 101. So continue on the problem is not
the problem is that we've got an income inequality issue in this country.
We do.
We have to make sure that and what is actually Donald Trump going to propose that's going to fix and get money in people's pockets?
I'm glad you brought that up, Harlan, because we do have a huge income inequality problem right now. The government's own census statistics shows that it's gotten dramatically worse under President Obama. One of the main reasons is that he's juiced the stock market that's only benefited the rich. I mean, Harlan, as a Democrat, how do you defend that now?
I absolutely can't. Look, I supported Barack Obama both times. I wasn't of age to vote for him the first time. That's how young I am. And I think that it was a mistake. I think that he has doubled down on, appealing to Wall Street. I think, look, if you invested in the stock market back in 2008, you've done very well under Barack Obama. If you're a middle class or working class American, you've done terribly. Neil, you're citing jobs numbers, and he's created a lot of jobs, but the economy is not doing well. And if you believe that it is, then you're not even listening to the government's own data.
No, actually, if you look at the government's data, he hasn't created a lot of jobs, Neil. If you look at it, it shows that the labor force participation rate is at historic lows because so many people have given up under the president. I'll give you the last chance. Go ahead.
Listen, I think that when we actually look at the plans that Donald Trump is putting forward, there's zero proof that it's going to benefit lower and middle income Americans. That's ultimately what's going to determine where millennial votes go. Is he going to help them? Absolutely not.
Harlan, it is hard to make the case when you talk about, I mean, you may know from an empirical sense that taking the leash off small business and off regulation and lowering taxes does cause economies to grow. But a lot of millennials don't necessarily understand that message. It can be hard to put it together. How do you drive it home? You
know, when we're talking about rhetoric, I think that that's probably true. I think a lot of millennials think the regulation is a good thing. But if you actually boil it down, like take the regulations that cities have tried to impose on Uber, millennials overwhelmingly don't like it. And so if Republicans start reframing these issues, I think a lot of millennials will
Actually,
support
that's great advice. Talk about it in terms of Uber. I love that idea. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.